I think the Beatles has such, as a band, and the music has such a deep personal resonance with our generation. I remember being in the first, second, third grade, school bus drops us off at the corner, and me and my friend would go over to Brad Wertz's house, and he had a turntable, and we listened to Beatles songs for hours. I mean, I was just a little kid, but we even at that age, we appreciated it so much. And yeah, Pamela, you're right. It is Mother Mary that Paul McCartney was writing about. His mother died when he was 14, and she came to him in a dream and said, everything's going to be okay, let it be. And that inspired him to write the song. And this was actually the last song that he wrote as a Beatle. The last single he wrote and performed as a Beatle. Then he went off and did his solo career. So it's a special song. It's special to me. When I think about let it be, what's the difference between letting it be and letting it go? Letting it go to me is when you're holding on to something, but it has to be an active movement to let go, right? And sometimes that's too hard for us to do because we're so attached to things. And that's what happens to us. With our relationships, we think of things always as ours when they're not really ours. If we're all one in the collective, it's not mine, it's ours. It's our experience. I am not having a experience personally. We are having this experience. There's a big difference. But with let it be is more of the hand is already open. It's the grace is already there. A lot of Hindu gods, you'll see, even in Buddhist gods, they just have their open hand like this. And this means blessings. It means blessings. When we meet somebody or when we say hi, what do? Hi. That's a way of giving blessings, giving loves, being open. And in the olden days, it was that we're showing that we're not carrying any weapons, right? But it's evolved. It means I'm open. I'm vulnerable. I see you, and thank you for seeing me. It's like that namaste, the divine in me honors the divine in you. So we can have, when we are open and vulnerable, we can have these conversations with God, and God can come to us in a dream, in meditation, however it is. But sometimes we want to bargain with God. I mean, we can't help it, right? I think that's just human nature. There's a story of this one guy who, I think we've all been there, circling the parking lot, can't find a place. It's like the Dodger game's going to start. I can't find a place. What? God, just please, I'll do anything if you just let me find a parking place. I'll go to church on Sunday. I'll give up drinking. Whatever it takes. Okay, I'll donate $100 a month. Whatever. Just give me a parking place. Well, the sun comes out and the clouds part, and there's the parking lot right in front of him. And the guy pulls in. He goes, never mind, found one. How quickly we forget. But there's 3 ways we can talk to God. Well, there's many ways we can talk to God, but I'm just going to give you 3 simple ways. Everyone knows about meditation, right? Meditation is about being in the silence. Praying is about talking to God, but meditation is about listening to God. So just being in the silence, being quiet, sitting still, eyes closed, watching the breath, whatever it takes to get you into that place, looking at a candle, smelling a flower, just being at peace, letting it be, letting yourself be just quiet. The second way is mindfulness. And that's a more active way. Mindfulness is just present moment awareness. It's just being present at every time, knowing it's the here and now. It's not thinking about the past. It's not planning for the future. It's being right here, right now. I always give the example of how I learned how to do mindfulness was because one time we took the kids to Disneyland. So there was a lot of planning, a lot of mapping out which ride are we going to go to first, second, third. When are we going to stop for lunch? Do we need a diaper change in here? Are we going to need this? Are we going to need that? When, the whole bit. We have the stroller. What are we going to do? Like all this planning, right? And then we get there. And then it's all about, okay, are we on schedule and we're going to go here? Are they having a good time? Are they having a good time? Blah, 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 blah. You're on the rides, but you're not on the ride. You're thinking about what's the next and how long is it going to take us to get to the food place, right? And then you go all through Disneyland. The kids are in the back seat falling asleep, like, oh, they had such a great time. And I'm going, what just happened? What just happened? I don't remember. Did you guys go on Space Mountain? I don't know. Did we? I don't know. You're just not present because you're thinking about everything else, all the details, instead of being in present moment awareness. That's what mindfulness is about. Because every moment, like even right now, are we aware that we're sitting in church and we're together and we're listening and understanding and being together? Or are we thinking, wait, after church, I've got that phone call to make, and then I have to get my groceries, and I have to do this, and then tomorrow I have that meeting, right? It's hard to bring your focus just where you are. That's mindfulness. And the third is another M. So meditation, mindfulness. Third is music. Listen to the music. How can you be anything but joyful when you're listening to that song? Listen to the music. Doobie Brothers. You can't help but groove, and you're moving your body, and you're feeling those endorphins going. And when you're in that state of bliss, you're feeling the connection with God, right? So that's your conversation with God. Is you don't need anybody to dance with. You're dancing with God. And that's like the best place to be in. There's this Kabbalah story that kind of illustrates the difference between let it go and let it be. And this man was very unhappy. And he prayed to God, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do. What do I do? Tell me what to do. And basically God said, push the stone. He's like, push the stone? What? And then he realized, outside of his home, his little hut in Israel, there was a very large boulder. And he thought, push this stone? Like what? How am I going to push this stone? But God told him to push the stone. So every day he would go out there with all his might, push the stone, push the stone, push the stone. This went on for about a month. And the guy's like, the stone is not budging. Nothing is happening. God, what? I quit. I give up. I don't see anything good that's changed in my life because you're telling me to push this stone. You're telling me to move this stone. God comes to him and says, I didn't tell you to move the stone. I told you to push the stone. You don't see what's changed? Look at your body. Look at how much stronger you are now. Look at how much more patient you are now. Look at how your mind is so much more at ease, because when you're pushing that stone, you're not thinking of anything else except pushing that stone. You are a stronger, more capable person now, 30 days later, than you were when you started pushing that stone. Why did you quit? He said, because nothing happened. He goes, everything happens. He said, God said, when the stone is ready to move, I will move the stone. It's up to me to move the stone. It's not up to you to move the stone. It's up to you to be ready for it. And this is how you prepare. By pushing the stone, pushing the stone, pushing the stone. You are preparing for the great changes that I am creating in your life behind the scenes that you don't even know about. Just like Pamela talking about the seeds under the ground. We don't know what's happening. But it's happening. It's growing. So when we set that intention, when we set that goal, when we put in the work, when we actually push the stone, we're preparing ourselves. And sometimes we don't see all the challenges that come to us as lessons or tests or opportunities to grow. But that's exactly what they are. How easy it would be to just quit and give up. To say, no, this is too hard. No, it's not worth it. But no, if we put in the work every single day, we gain the confidence, we gain the experience, we gain the muscle. We're preparing ourselves so that when that day comes, that we are ready, the stone is ready, the circumstances are ready, the situation around us is ready. We're good to go. Good to go. It's that simple. There's a big kind of movement that's going on online lately, and it's called the let them theory. Mel Robbins has popularized it, but this has been going on for ages. I mean, at one time it was attributed to Mother Teresa. It was like, you know, they may be this, they may be that. Love them anyway. Love them anyway. So this is all about relationships. Well, he's hurting me. Let them. You don't have to be hurt. They aren't doing anything to you. You are taking it as hurt. Walk away. They're hurting you. Walk away. They are doing this. They are doing that. I don't like this. I don't like that. Let them do their thing. You do your thing. You have no control about what anybody else does. You only have control about what you do. So yeah, don't be a doormat. Don't let them walk all over you. Set your boundaries. Be clear. But you just got to let people be who they are. That's the whole theory behind Ayurveda too, right? The science of life. We talk about this all the time. You can't make a tiger be a bunny rabbit. You can't. You can't get mad at a tiger saying, what the heck? You're not eating your lettuce. You know? What the heck? You're not cuddling with me. You know? You can't make an eagle be a hummingbird. You can't make a hummingbird be a swan. People are who they are. And we all have our lessons to learn and our ways of learning them. You know, and we don't know what karma we've had with these people and other lives or why they're in our lives or what lessons they have to teach us. It's all a mystery. But if we fight against it, what's the point? If we try to change it, what's the point? We just have to trust in God. We just have to push the stone. Hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. Do the work, do the work, do the work. And one day we'll be like, oh, I get it now. This is why. This is why it was so hard. Because now that I'm on the other side, I can see it. I can see it. There's levels of understanding to this too. I mean, we don't just awakening, enlightenment. It's not about just one day. Oh, I'm enlightened now. I'm awake. You know, that it doesn't happen like that. It's literally like walking up the stairs, and sometimes there's steep stairs, and sometimes there's shallow stairs, and sometimes you're on a plateau and you're like, when's the next stair? It's a process. It's a process. But it's like understanding the difference between light and dark. We understand at the first level that there is an advantage of light over dark, right? It's light in here so we can see, so we don't bump into furniture. So, we can see what's real and what's not real. Although, are we really seeing what's real and what's not real? Because are we seeing with our eyes, or are we seeing with our third eye? Are we understanding the difference between what's real and what's real? But we do understand that there's an advantage of light over dark, that there's an advantage of good over evil, that we want good things to happen to people. The next level is we appreciate the light so much more after being in the dark. If we only experience light, we don't know what the dark is. So how do we know that light is better than dark? So sometimes being in the dark gives us that opportunity to say, yeah, I get it. I'd rather be in the light. I'd rather do the work that it takes to be in the light. I appreciate it so much more. And then the deepest level of understanding is that, we all understand that light comes from light. That analogy of lighting one candle and lighting the other candle and lighting the other candle. It's all the same flame in the end, right? Light comes from light. But when we understand that light can come from dark, that is the deepest level of understanding. A lot of times we say we see that light at the end of the tunnel, right? Like you're in that dark tunnel. I always think of when we're driving on Canaan through the canyons in Malibu, and you go through those tunnels and you're like, just a little bit, should I hold my breath? Do I touch the ceiling? What's the good luck thing? Because I'm going to go through this tunnel. But then you see the light and you're like, okay, yeah, there is an end to this tunnel. But sometimes it's like that when we're going through dark times in our lives. We suffer. I mean, we're in a human body, so, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. We're going to go through pain. Pain is just a signal that something needs to change. We need to pay attention to it. But we're in the dark. If we just... if we're going to close our eyes in the dark, it's still going to be dark, right? But sometimes if we open our eyes, even when it's dark, just open our eyes and look around, we might see a little flicker, a little glimmer. Focus on that and watch it just expand and expand and expand. That's the light that comes from the dark. That's the light of awareness that lights up our intellect, that lights up the universe. When we experience our lowest moments, when we've fallen, when we feel like we've been a failure, when we feel like we did something wrong or we hurt somebody and we're ashamed, we feel shame. It awakens us to a sensitivity to goodness. We know the growth is there. Sometimes when we hit bottom, that's what it takes to hit bottom. That's when the change finally happens. That's when the catalyst kicks in. And it's like, I can't take it anymore. It's always said that when we're down on our knees, that's when we're closest to God. Because we're surrendering. We're saying, okay, this is what it is. I'm letting it be. Show me what to do. Show me how to change. Show me how to get out of this. Guide me on this path, because the path is so windy, I don't see where the end is. I don't know how long this path is. All I can do is follow it. So just guide me. Ramakrishna always said that the way to live life, the secret to living life, is to live as if you are a servant in the wealthiest person's home. So imagine you're like a maid or a cleaner or a driver or whatever in the king's home. And you're surrounded by the best furniture, the best dishes, the best food, the best chairs, the best bed you get to sleep in, everything. But you're not attached to it because you know it's not yours. You enjoy it. You enjoy being there. But when you go home, you go home. And you're not worried about, is an earthquake going to come? Is a fire going to come? Are the kids going to get kidnapped? They're not your kids. You don't worry about anything because it's not yours. So that's the way to live in the world, because it's all of ours. It's all God's, which means it's all of ours. We're borrowing this stuff. We're using it. We're enjoying it. But we don't need to hang on to it and put so much value on it so that if we lose it, like all the people who lost their homes in the fires. It's been a month now. Can you believe it? For them to get everything, back to some sort of state of normal. But, there's some sort of freedom in that too. It's like, I have nothing to worry about because everything's gone. What's the worst that can happen now? The worst has already happened. Now what, right? And now that the worst has happened, what? I'm still here. My family's still here. You have what you have, God didn't go anywhere. We still have our relationship with God. So there's this little prayer I want to end with today. It's a prayer from Kabbalah. So just relax, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let this sink in a little bit. At the level of the soul, we are pure and we are vulnerable. Let us wrap ourselves in a robe of light. Allow us to witness the wounds of the world without feeling wounded. Allow us to learn what we need to know to be of the greatest use without being overwhelmed by despair. Allow the light of wisdom to run through me, to run through all of us, to run through all those who need to see clearly. And so it is. Om Tat Sat. Amen. Thank you very much.